Hey everyone, welcome to Simble Things. So this is a channel where I mainly talk about my C-PTSD and kind of living with it, and talk about issues affecting me and other people with similar conditions. That kind of thing. So in today's video I want to talk about, it's a bit of a weird one to talk about, but it came up, the idea came up after a chat with a friend. Okay, so the idea is that for me personally, I don't remember a time when things were good. Like when it comes to my life, because of having an abusive childhood. I know for some people, they also had very abusive childhoods, but they can remember a time when things were good, and they have like nostalgia for that. And they talk about that, and I've heard friends say that they wish they could go back to that time. They remember when things were good and remember when things were better with their parents, or anything like that. But just realize that for me, there I don't have that. I don't have a time that I can remember from my childhood that things were good, that I wish I could go back to. And it's an interesting question about whether, is that a good or a bad thing? And I know none of us get to choose that. I'm not naive enough to think that we can choose whether or not we did have this good time before, you know, all these traumas happened that have given us CPTSD, right? Some serious shit happened over a very long period of time for us to get C-PTSD. Obviously, PTSD can be around like a single event, but C-PTSD specifically, it's about traumas that are ongoing and sustained. Um, so yeah, that just happens to us, and we have to live with it. And for some of us, there might have been a time that we can remember before all of the trauma, and for some of us, there isn't that time. And I remember saying to my friend that I don't know whether I'm lucky or unlucky to not remember a time that was better before. I think there's some ways that I'm lucky. It it means that I'm never looking back to try and get back to something, because I don't have something to go back to. There's well, there's no good point for me to go back to, so I don't think like that. And I think maybe if you are somebody that can remember and has nostalgia for this golden time when things were better before all the trauma, then maybe sometimes you're thinking about going back rather than having to go forwards. And I think with dealing with any mental health issues, I think it's got to be really important for us to look forward and to try and work out how we get to a better place from where we are now, rather than trying to think about maybe where we've been, because it just it doesn't help a lot of mental health conditions, and specifically CPTSD. I don't think it helps to have this nostalgia for a golden time, because it does make it too easy to get hung up on that, and to think maybe I think there's another part of it that's really messed up as well, is that for people who remember a time when things was better and then traumas happened, sometimes, they'll like blame themselves, and maybe there was something that they were doing right before all the trauma, and then they did something, changed something, and then the trauma started, and then the abuse started. And that's pretty much never the case. you know if you have CPTSD and you've experienced abuse, then that happened, and it was gonna happen probably regardless of your actions, which is really horrible and it's sad, but it's true. And so I think not having that time of, and not ever harkening back to like some kind of golden time or any kind of nostalgia, I think there there I think that's made me really concentrate on making now better and making my future better, and like every day trying to make that better. And because in my childhood I never felt safe, and now I generally do. Okay, so there's always the stresses of having to try and pay the bills, etc. And do you know what? At the moment, I'm 2 months behind on my rent. But in general, I feel safe day to day. And that's because I've made a home for myself and made it safe. And that's through my own efforts. And growing up, there was never a time when things were safe. At home, not at home. So I'm not fully sure where I'm going now. Did I make any notes that might help? My notes just say no nostalgia to a better time, good/bad question mark. Thanks, past me. Past me made some really good notes there. I guess there's no answering it, because it's a thing that we don't have control over. So looking at it as good or bad isn't very useful. I don't think it's very helpful. It's the situation we're in, and you have CPTSD, and either you do remember a time before all the trauma when things were good, or you don't. But either way, we need to concentrate on making today and tomorrow better, rather than being hung up on the past, even if it was better. You know, there's what else can you say? Like, it's all about trying to keep going. Because if we don't make today and tomorrow like better for ourselves, then what's the point? You know, suicide's a very like difficult thing for a lot of people to talk about, and a lot of people have very strong opinions on it, and some people can be very like harsh in their opinions on others that have committed suicide. But you never know what's in somebody else's head, right? And unless a person can see better tomorrows and better today in front of them, then what is the point? Like, I don't hold any judgment for people that feel in that position, but I think for all of us, we should use the resources available to us, whether that's friends, counsellors, therapists, etc., or even just ourselves. And not ourselves in to make things worse and to get hung up, but to try and really think about how do we make today and tomorrow better for ourselves. because like regardless of whether you can remember a better time in the past or not, it kind of doesn't matter, because past's gone. And sure, if the time before when things were better can help you make today and tomorrow better, then cool, you know, use that. That's the resource then. But I think for many people, those memories and that nostalgia isn't really a resource. It becomes like a roadblock at times. And I think that's the important thing to think about when it comes to whether you do remember something better from the past or you don't. It's like, don't let the past be a roadblock. You know, we can make better todays and tomorrows. I mean, the reason I started this channel and made this video is because I think I kind of have a decent handle on my C-PTSD, and I feel like I've like day to day that I'm living all right and that I can deal okay. So now that I've been at that point for a bit now, for a few, let's say a few years, it's become more and more important to me to try and help others get to that point. And well, YouTube's, I guess, it's taken me a while to like make this video and get it out there, but I'm doing it. And I've decided today I'm going to do that, and I'm going to try and use the fact that I can talk about the traumas I've experienced and the fact that it's given me C-PTSD, and the fact that means that I have anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts, and I can say that. And I want to be able to be honest and open about it for the people that aren't there yet. And, you know, maybe it can help them. You know, maybe it can help you. But remember, like, don't forget, there's always going to be other resources out there. There are friends out there, whether you know them yet or not. There are services to help you. There are counsellors, therapists, you know. There are things out there to help you, and it's hard, but you can do it. So I just want to say thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.